I met up with Nick Bach, an executive director of Roatan Marine Park, who explained to me how they were trying to manage this threat to their reefs.
After the first sighting with the lionfish, we understood that we had to be proactive in controlling their numbers. So rather than just trying to get one or two people going down there and spearing them, which would be myself and someone else, that perfect tool of the trade. The understanding was we need to actually get more people from the community, especially the diving community, actually going out there and actively hunting them. So we're given permission from the fisheries department called Dia Pesca here in Honduras, and they permitted us to issue special licenses solely to be basically hunting lionfish. Spear guns and pole spears, Hawaiian slings, they're all illegal within the whole of the Barrow Islands, so you can't really catch lionfish with a net. You can, but it's not very fast and it's not very effective. The understanding is we issue licenses and pole spears predominantly to dive masters and instructors, but there are certain people around the island who snorkel, maybe in secluded areas. We need to get more people out there killing them.
I headed out with Nick to see how effective this technique for removing lionfish is. With their venomous spines and conspicuous colouring, these fish rely on display to ward off predators. So when threatened, they just spread their fins rather than swimming away. This makes for easy targeting with a hand spear, although it isn't as easy as it looks. I gave it a try and missed 9 out of 10 times, but then with all the lionfish over here, Nick had a lot more practice than me. But even as easy as spearing them is, divers and snorkelers only spend a small amount of time in the water and only in a limited area. What happens to the rest of the reef? In their native waters, the Indian and Pacific Oceans, big groupers and sharks keep their numbers in check. But here in the Caribbean, the big predators don't really know what the lionfish is.
Invasive species, it's basically not known, it's not natural for them to be here, so the understanding these fish don't really recognize them as a food, don't really know what they are. So even though they're not naturally from around here and the other fish actually don't know what they are, once you put a hole through them, they just look like food to them. So we were concerned about some of the fish becoming poisoned, but apparently they don't really have any effect. So we have large mutton snappers, we have groupers, we have morays, even anemones. If you jab them, if you put a dead one in there, they eat them. So we have no recorded adverse effects. We haven't found any fish floating on the surface. So it's a good step in the right direction where not necessarily we're going to hand feed them the whole time, but people have noted a decrease in numbers, and this could be from actual predation from the larger fish. People always say that fish feeding is a very bad idea, and we're behind it as well. Within the marine reserve, fish feeding is actually illegal. But I mean, everyone can't deal with these lionfish. They can't, while leading a dive, bring a bucket, take the fish out. So, I mean, feeding the fish, yeah, it's not the best idea. It maybe gets them into a bad habit of associating humans with the fish. But I mean, there's a lot of fish out there and there's not that many people to feed them. So maybe you'll get 1 or 2 fish that do associate and may become maybe aggressive when they're not fed. But other than that, I think it's a good thing just trying to educate more fish.
This Nassau grouper was obviously an educated fish. He saw us and our spears early in our dive and followed us until he got his lionfish. He'd obviously done this before and spat the lionfish in and out until he got the angles right to avoid the spines and swam off with a bellyful. No question that lionfish is on his menu. So teaching the big predators underwater to eat lionfish is an important step too. There are only so many divers in the water diving a very limited ocean area, but reef predators live on the reef constantly and roam its full extent. They could be the key to bringing lionfish numbers down to a manageable level once they learn to eat them. But there is also another measure that is being taken on Roatan Island.